Hey guys, Eggy here, welcome back to another video. Today's video I actually made way back in April, but yesterday I realised that YouTube had taken my video down without any explanation whatsoever, which is, annoying considering it was in April and now we're just like the start of June. But I had a look. Like, the first thing I checked was my emails in case there was like an email about a copyright issue that I didn't see, because obviously I make a separate account for all of my YouTube stuff, so it's just separate from my main email. I had a look, no email. Usually when it's a copyright issue, it's when I'm out filming and sometimes the music's a little louder than what I'm talking, because some parts of Forbidden Planet you're like directly underneath the speakers, so you have like no other option. So usually when that happens, they email you and like, oh, you've got copyrighted music. Now your choices are either A, mute the clip for like the section, or B, just remove that clip entirely. Normally I just go for mute the clip because it's just easier that I'm not cutting out a big chunk of my video. But yeah, there was no email this time, and I didn't want to faff about emailing YouTube and be like, hey, what happened to my video, because chances are I'm gonna have to make the video again anyway, so I just figured I'll just make the video again. I do have two like Disney themed t-shirts from Primark for my pajamas, so I can't remember, obviously because it's back in April, if I was wearing one of those in my videos, but I'm pretty sure I've been wearing them in other videos and not had a problem. So just to be on the safe side, I put on a shirt instead of my pajama top. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this video doesn't get taken down. And I know it was April because I made the thumbnail for this video before I made the video. And I sent the thumbnail from my iPad where I draw it on to my phone, to where I do all my filming and stuff. And that was like the 23rd of April, so it would have been like late April, early May when I made the video, because I was stressing so much about the thumbnail because I wanted it to look like my other thumbnails that I draw, but without being too like matchy because it's kind of different to what topics I normally talk about. But yeah, now I got to film all over again and try and remember what I was talking about, because none of my videos are scripted. I don't do a script before I make my videos. I make my videos purely on vibes and like what I'm interested in at the moment. So yeah, let's get into the video. So today's video, as you can work out from the title and the thumbnail, I have created my own shop and I'm super duper excited about it. I was excited when I made the other video as well, but that's fine. Yeah, this is a thing that I have been wanting to do for years, so it's not like it's like a rash decision on my part. Since I was young, I've been really into like drawing and sketching, and then when I was little I was like, oh, people say that art is like paintings and stuff, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna do that because I only really do sketches and stuff, and like how to draw, I use those for like anime characters and stuff. I remember one time I made a whole like sketchbook. I must have put these sketchbooks in the bin because I searched my room like 3-4 times to show you guys my sketches back when I was in secondary school. I can't find them for the life of me, and I've set my room up like 3-4 times, so I must have put them in the bin because I can't think of where else they'd be. But yeah, I remember this one time I was drawing Lucy from Fairy Tail because I was really big into Fairy Tail at the time, and I followed the step-to-step drawing guide, and it took me like 2 weeks to realise that I didn't draw a neck because there was no neck in like the tutorial. So like the drawing is like half decent, for a 13-year-old anyway, so it's like half decent. I like outlined it in like fine liner pen but not like rubbed out the sketch underneath it, and there's just like no neck, so there's just like 2 wobbly lines where I've just quickly put like the necklines in. So yeah, I heard about people, you know, selling their art as like paintings and stuff, and I was like, well, I just sketch, you know, I'm not really that good at drawing, I'm not gonna do painting, I'm not gonna sell that, but it's cool that people do that. And then I was like 17, 18 when I realised people were actually selling drawings and stuff that they do, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, you know, people make artwork like drawings and stuff, but they turn it into actual things like designs on tote bags and stuff. That's really cool. Maybe one day, you know, vague dream, maybe one day I'll do that. But I can't believe it took me that many years to realise people are actually being able to, you know, sell their artwork and stuff as actual things, as like physical products. But anyway, I realised that, and then I fell out of drawing at that point because I was just so busy with other stuff. And then when I got my iPad and started, you know, digitally drawing, that became like my main focus for so long, because I had to figure out how to, you know, use Procreate, how to use the brushes, because no one told me that the brushes you start with in Procreate are kind of naff. And sorry, there's a heat wave right now, and there's just a huge flying daddy long legs just on my wall. Those things really creep me out, so I'm just fingers crossed that it's not gonna fly at me when I'm filming. But anyway, yeah, no one told me that the brushes that you start with from Procreate are kind of naff and you have to go out and buy them. So that was kind of annoying to start with, because obviously I didn't know much about Procreate other than people use that to draw digitally. So once I figured all of that out and I started teaching myself how to draw digitally, because like I hadn't drawn anything since I was like 15 at that point, and I'd only been like sketching on sketchbooks with pencil, so it's a completely new method to me. I had to figure it all out myself, and then when I got into it I wasn't sketching on sketchbooks anymore. So the other month, I say the other month, but it's probably like 3-4 months ago, when I was reading my Dungeon Meshi volumes, when I was drawing on some paper to get back into actually drawing physically again. It took me so long to draw, and I didn't like how the drawing turned out. So because I've been so focused on digitally drawing, I can't remember how to draw on paper and pencil anymore, so that was kind of frustrating. But yeah, I've been really into digitally drawing and like getting used to it and everything. I was like, hey, maybe I should do, you know, sell my art and stuff. So I found this website online, like that people on Instagram use. This person that I follow, that does like their own webtoons and stuff, they use them, and I had a promotion that was like, oh, reply underneath this post and then you'll get a DM from the company, and then they'll send you a link to create your own website. And it's basically a website where you design everything on the website, and then the company will just send it straight to the customer once they buy it, so you don't have to worry about storage and like buying your own products and like shipping them out, if that makes sense. So I was like, okay, that seems really cool, because I don't have the space for my own physical products. So I did that. I spent about a month figuring out the website, figuring out what I was going to make. I had everything up for like 2 weeks and the website and everything was going fine, and it seemed like the second I shared the link, it stopped working. So someone messaged me and was like, oh, I just clicked on the link, nothing's showing up. I was like, okay, that's weird, I literally used it the day before, let me go see what's going on. It had logged me out of my account, and when I went and tried to log in, it just wasn't letting me, and I was like, okay, this is weird. So I joined a Discord, which took so long to find like an actual link that wasn't expired, because I was going through the website clicking on all of like the Discord links and it was all coming up like expired. I was like, that's really weird. I eventually joined the Discord and I opened a ticket, because that's the only way you could contact them about it, and I was like, hey, so I've had this open for a month now, and now it's saying that the website's not working. is there an error on my part? What's going on? How can I fix this? Do I need to, you know, make a new website? Because I'm cool with that. Just, you know, let me know what's going on. I waited like a week, I think it was, and they closed the ticket without responding to me and kicked me out of the Discord and blocked me, so I couldn't join it again. And I was like, that's really weird. That's really a bit, you know, strange. So I googled it, and it seemed like a load of other people had the same problem, because like I don't know if they got like an overwhelming number of people trying to make their own websites, because the person that I got the link from weren't the only people who were like having a collab at the same time with them. So I don't know if they just had an overwhelming number of people trying to join, make their own website, or what. But a lot of other people had the same problems with the company, and then when they tried to make another account using like a different account, like making another website with them using a different email address or whatever, it still wasn't working and stuff. And a lot of people said they had problems with like the product quality and stuff. So I was like, okay, at least it's not just me, because I thought I did something without realizing that I did something. So obviously I was very confused. And then I found another place, and I was like, okay, this stuff seems cheaper to bulk order and stuff. I'll just use them. I joined the Discord because I wanted to, you know, I was actually able to find a link that worked on my first try. Joined the Discord, had a little nosy about everything. And to be verified as an illustrator, you have to send like 10 drawings of like your drawing process, and then, you know, like each one has to have your watermark. And I'm awful at remembering to watermark my drawing, so I had to screenshot everything from my iPad, send it to my phone, because that's the account I was using on my Discord. So I had to send it to my phone, and I was like, wait, I haven't watermarked it. So I had to go on my gallery, go and put text on everything of my watermark, and then I sent it all across. Within like a day, I was like, yep, good to go. And I was like, awesome. And then I went through the Discord again, asked a few questions, this, that, and the other. Got a lot of helpful answers, which was really nice. I posted some artwork, and people were like, oh yeah, that looks great. You should go do this as a design for this, this, and this. And I was like, awesome, great. And then I ordered my products, and then while I was waiting for the products to come, I put another drawing up in the Discord, and I was like, oh yeah, this is another work in progress. I just, you know, tied it up a little bit. And then someone commented and was like, oh yeah, that looks great. I did like a Pokemon fan art one, and then someone was like, oh, that's great, this is one of my favourite Pokemon, but people don't tend to draw them because they're not, you know, one of the nicer looking ones, I guess. And I was like, oh, okay, let me click on this notification to talk to this person about Pokemon. Go on there, that comment's been deleted, and someone has accused me of just copying and pasting the drawing. And I was like, you have to, you know, register proof to become an illustrator anyway. And I was like, oh, I can show you guys, you know, my step process of like the drawing and stuff. I've got my rough sketch here that I can show you. And then there was like, no, instant ban, because you're claiming that this is your artwork when it isn't. And they didn't give me, you know, like an opportunity to explain, I guess. So I don't know if it's because it's one that I didn't have the rough sketch for, and I just posted the finished, like the tidy up version, or if it's because it just looked too good. I don't know. But they instant banned me, and then they blocked me, so I couldn't like join a Discord again. And I was like, that's really weird. Really strange. But then there was other people that I know for a fact were just copying and pasting designs and selling them as their own products. It's like, that is completely different to what I was doing. I was making my own designs based on fan art, and that was fine because a load of other people would have been doing that. But I've seen so many people just copy and pasting, you know, like the actual drawings, and you can tell they're the actual drawings because they've got like the actual drawing watermark from like the actual creators. And he had one person that was just going through every single channel and going, oh, why did you draw that? That looks horrible. You should just give up art. And they were just getting warnings each time, and then I got instant banned, and that just like really annoyed me, because I was like, I didn't generally do anything wrong, what the fuck? And it turns out that platform and the website I was using are like collaborators, and it turns out a lot of other people had that problem as well, and I was like, what is going on? So I was kind of relieved that it wasn't just me having this problem, but like I was also so frustrated, because I was like, that's 2 things that's gone wrong now. And because I wasn't in the Discord, I couldn't track my parcel that well, because for some reason that website and the other website, the only support system is in a Discord, and obviously where I got blocked and banned, I couldn't rejoin the Discord and then asking that, and it turned out my parcel was being sent back to the company, and I was like, is it being sent back because I got, you know, kicked out of the Discord, even though there was like no way for them to prove that it's, you know, the same thing. So I filled out their Google document, which was on their website, didn't hear back. So I waited a week, didn't hear back. I was like, okay, that's really weird. So I had to email them like 6 different times just for them to respond to me. I was like, oh yeah, sorry about that. We can resend it with the same, you know, shipping provider, or we can choose a different shipping provider. And I was like, I'd prefer a different shipping provider if this first one's the one that's, you know, sending it back. And I was like, okay, cool, we're gonna go sort that out for you, you gotta wait a while. And I was just kind of frustrated because, one, I paid £6, I can't quite remember, for fast shipping, and then because I wanted everything to be done in April, so that by the time it's like the 1st of April I can have my website up and stuff. That just did not go to plan. But yeah, and then I googled the tracking company that they used originally that was sending it back to the warehouse, and it turns out 4 or 5 other websites had the exact same problem with the shipping provider. And it's like, if you're this big company that loads of people are using because you're bragging about how many people use your website and use your, you know, your factories and stuff, would you not research the shipping company that you're using to see if there's a problem with it, especially if that's the main shipping company that you use? So I was just feeling so incredibly frustrated just from that alone. And then when I was designing my products and stuff, and like the mock-ups weren't what my drawing was like, and I was trying to create a sticker sheet, but for the sticker sheet they didn't tell me that I had to individually add each thing, because I just done like the sticker sheet design, and I was like, awesome, that looks cool, let me go put it in there and then it'll be a nice little sticker sheet. No, you have to do each one individually. And I was like, okay, let me save each one individually. Saved each one individually. Went and tried it again, and I was like, no, it's not working. And then because I was doing it all on my phone because I don't have a laptop, I had to send everything from my iPad. I had to download everything from Procreate, send it from my iPad to my phone, and then download it onto my phone, and then go on the website and try and figure it out that way. And then if something was a problem, I had to go back on my iPad, edit it on my iPad, send it over to my phone, download it, send it over to my phone, and then try and figure it out that way. And it took me nearly a month just to do my things and like design them all, and then I had to wait another month to like get my money and stuff to be able to afford it. And then it was only supposed to take like a month after that, so the month after that it would have been like the start of April, which was what I was planning on. And then it got sent back to the shipping provider, and then I had to wait a while for it to come. And then when it got to like the last carrier to be sent towards me, it was just with them for 3 weeks. I was like, if I'd known it's gonna take this long, I would have just went to the carrier myself and be like, hey, I'm just gonna pick up my parcel. But no, I didn't realise it was gonna be that long, and I didn't know how big the box was gonna be. turns out this is just the size of the box, so I could have just, you know, gone down there and picked it up myself. But obviously I didn't know how big the box was going to be, and I didn't want to have like a massive box to take on the bus and, you know, back home. So that was so frustrating. And with all of that, I was like, surely there can't be something else to go wrong. And then the free trial I had for Shopify expired by the time I got the products because of where the products had to be sent back, and I was like, I'm not paying £25 to £35 a month for a website. I'm not dealing with all of that when I haven't even, you know, sold anything yet. And then I was looking at Etsy, but Etsy has changed the way it does stuff, and now the percentage fee that it takes is close to like, I think it was 20 to 21%. I can't remember if I wrote it down. No, I did not write it down. It was like a really high percentage. But yeah, in terms of what takes the most profits out of like the three options, it goes Etsy, Ko-fi, Shopify. Etsy takes so much money. Like, you have to pay for a listing fee, you gotta pay like each item you list, you have to pay a separate fee for, and then you only have like a certain time for your listing. So if that listing expires, you have to relist it at another price. And obviously you got to pay to set up your shop and like a load of other things that I can't quite remember right now, because I was looking into it. Because out of the three options, Etsy's good for bringing in an audience, but Ko-fi and Shopify, you got to bring your own audience to that site. But so many people, like shops and stuff that I follow on Instagram, they've all had problems with Etsy. Whether they said that it's, you know, AI art on it, stolen art on it, or just, you know, the way that Etsy's changed the pricing. So when you're scrolling through at the beginning, some things seem higher because unless you click on it, it won't tell you that it's the price of the item and shipping. So you're just gonna look at it and go, that's expensive, I'm not gonna, you know, click on it and look at it further. So a lot of people have complained about that, and a lot of people have said that the Etsy shop, the prices are higher to be able to cover the cost of all of the fees that Etsy takes compared to like their own website and stuff. Because I know a few people who have an Etsy shop alongside their actual like website and stuff, but they only really recommend it if you have a big audience and a good following account, as well as like a steady income from your shop in the first place, because otherwise all of the fees and stuff, it's really not worth it. They mostly keep their Etsy account just for like international ships and stuff, so like if they want to send stuff to a different country like that. Because I was looking into Etsy, because a lot of people recommend that when you first start out, but then it's also the same people that are like, oh yeah, I haven't used it in years though, so it could be completely different. So I don't think I will go with Etsy. I went with Ko-fi simply because, one, it was like the least amount of profit gets taken. Like, you only pay a small percentage of your profits just to cover the cost of using PayPal and like card payments on the website, which is fine. I'm more than happy to, you know, pay for that. I didn't know about Ko-fi. Like, I'd heard about Ko-fi, but I didn't really know what it was until I started looking into things for my shop. So I know a lot of people are a bit iffy about buying stuff from a Ko-fi shop, because it's not like heard of mostly, unless you're like in like the artist community and stuff. So that's mostly why I also want to get like my own website, because I was looking at doing Shopify, but it's just super expensive to run, and at the moment I cannot afford it. It's like 25-30 per month, and then they still take a profit from that. But it's like, if you're paying that much per month, would you not think that would cover, you know, like owning the website, running the website, all of your fees and stuff? But I don't know, it's just strange to me to think that if you're paying monthly like that high of a price, would it not cover, you know, all of the costs and stuff? But I went with Ko-Fi because one, it was pretty easy to use. I don't have to pay for any of the listings. It takes a small percentage of profits. It was really easy to use. I'm not that advanced in technology, so because a lot of people also recommend, if you don't want to pay monthly for Shopify, if you want to do a Shopify website, they recommend that you code. And it's like, I don't understand any of that. We didn't really do IT at school. Because like none of the computers were working, so like most of the time you're just sitting there staring at like, you know, your screen and stuff. But yeah, I don't know how to code. Ko-Fi just seemed really simple and easy to use, and everyone in the Ko-Fi Discord is super helpful at like helping you figure out the layout if you get stuck and how to sort things out. Because a lot of people nowadays, now that like snail mail club things are really popular, they use Ko-Fi for that, because Patreon takes a huge chunk of your fees as well, so those people from Patreon have migrated to Ko-Fi. I was thinking of doing a snail club when I was getting my shop ideas in, but then I was like, I cannot afford to buy things for both the shop and the snail club, because I wanted to keep them both separate, because there's no point in me doing stuff on the snail club that I'm selling in my shop as well, because it's like at that point there's no difference between it. That, and I wouldn't know what to write in the letter every single month either. And even if I did it like every like 3-4 times a year, I still wouldn't know how to, you know, what to write in a letter, what to include, all of that stuff. Like, it does seem interesting, don't get me wrong, but I've just been so focused on my shop, I haven't really thought about, you know, doing anything else, like different ideas and stuff, because all that's been on my mind lately is my shop, all of my shop stuff, get that all done. So yeah, but that is good for that, because you can do like monthly tiers as well. But yeah, my plan is to eventually get a Shopify website, but at the moment it's just too expensive for me to use, and I don't have a big following for my shop either. I guess it doesn't help that YouTube took my video down in the first place, because, you know, that's like mostly my advertising and stuff. I'm still trying to work out how to advertise and stuff for my shop. I know a lot of people pay extra on Instagram to, you know, do ads and stuff, but again, I cannot afford any of that. So my best bet is trying to upload content, which I never remember to do, and if I do, I never have any ideas for it. Or just word of mouth, I guess, from like my followers and stuff, to get them to then tell their friends and stuff. But eventually, yeah, I would like to have a Shopify website if I can afford it, because when I did have the free trial and I was messing around with it before my products came, it was fairly easy to use. The layout was simple. You just choose from a different template or design on a website, and then you can just like edit it however you like. And I know a fair few people use it because it's popular, because more people are likely to use a Shopify website because it looks like a real website than Ko-Fi, because again, Ko-Fi is not really that popular, which sucks, because at the moment that's the easiest thing for me to do. But yeah, Shopify is my goal, or one of my goals for my shop is to get a Shopify website, just so I can, you know, do that, because I was looking at a few other ones that are like template based, you know, you just edit the template to your needs, because again, I cannot code, and then they all use AI, like really bad AI, and I don't want to do that. and they also charge so much more than Shopify. One was like wanting to charge me £45 per month, and it wouldn't let me look at like the website templates and stuff unless I paid, and I was like, no. £45 a month is a lot anyway, especially for me when I'm just starting out, and not being able to have a look at that stuff, that also didn't help. But yeah, that's also why I went with Ko-Fi, because the other websites were all crazy expensive per month, and they all use like really bad destructive AI, and I was like, no, like AI is a big problem anyway. I'm not gonna go contribute to that just because, you know, I don't know how to code. So that's also why I stuck with Ko-Fi, and I'm planning to move to Shopify, because as far as I know, they don't use destructive AI, and it's super simple to use, and it's a lot cheaper than the other websites, even if, you know, I think that £30 per month is expensive. But yeah, that is my plan, hopefully, if I get enough orders, is to transfer over to a Shopify website. I think once I get a Shopify website, I will still keep my Ko-Fi running alongside it, just because Ko-Fi is practically free, so it'll be a shame to, you know, miss that, you know, take that off while I'm using Shopify, because then if I forget to pay Shopify 1 month, at least I still got my Ko-Fi, and if I have a good audience, then I can just, you know, make a post on Instagram and be like, oh, sorry guys, use Ko-Fi for now until I get it back up. And a few people lately have had problems with Shopify and like the servers being down, so if I have Ko-Fi as a backup when that happens, I can still use Ko-Fi, stuff like that. And then when I was talking in my Discord about like all of my shop stuff, someone asked me if I was gonna go do conventions, and it's like, I would love to do conventions at one point, but I don't drive, which is a huge obstacle, because most of the people who do conventions and stuff drive because it's easier to get to. They can store all of their stuff in their car and take it with them. But because of medical reasons, I'm legally unable to drive, which it doesn't really bother me that much, except for when I want to do stuff and it's like the middle of nowhere, you can only get there if you drive. And obviously thinking of doing conventions or wanting to go somewhere that's quite far from where I live, and the only way I can do that is travel. But it's not all bad, like I get free travel in and around London because that's where I live, but in terms of when I want to go somewhere, it's the last train that I usually have to pay for, because obviously that's the one coming out of London, which will be like the first train coming back, and that's always the most expensive one as well, and it's like £60 usually for that one ticket one way. So that kind of puts me off, because luckily when I planned the Birmingham meetup with my friends, I bought my ticket so far in advance. I managed to get an open return for £23.30, 40, something like that, just for like the train from Euston Station to Birmingham, and then from Birmingham to Euston Station. So that was really lucky, because that was the most expensive one by far. So it is doable, but I don't like doing it. I don't like trains. It's too loud, too hot, too annoying. Having like this free travel does not make me want to go on trains more, just because I don't like trains. So it's really hard. I don't tend to go out a lot anyway, and when I do, on the trains and stuff, it's usually to the same places, so I kind of know what I'm getting into. So I don't like, you know, doing new things in the first place and stuff, but trains is a struggle for me. So doing like getting on the train to go to Comic-Con with like bags of stuff for like my products and stuff doesn't really appeal to me right now. If I get more confident with trains, then I might think about it more. But I'd also be going to the convention by myself, which means I'd have to figure out how I'd be, you know, going to the toilet if I needed a toilet, getting something to eat, fill out my water bottle. If I have a problem with my booth, I would be the only person there, because a lot of people, they're like, yeah, you can always, you know, talk to the other people that are tabling and stuff. But I've also seen some people say that they asked someone to cover their table while they went to the toilet, and they came back, half their stock was gone and half of their cash. So it's kind of like, not too sure. That and the stuff that people mostly use for their tables, like the grid boxes and stuff, they're really expensive. I wanted a yellow one, just purely because yellow is my favourite colour, and you know, like the whole egg theme, when you think of eggs you usually think of the colour yellow. That one sold out literally everywhere. There's this Australian company that do Artist Alley setups and stuff, but it's £300 for the whole display, and then you have to pay like £40 shipping on top of that, because I was looking into that and it's like, no. But I've seen that some people just get like the plain white one and then get like vinyl wallpaper and just like stick the wallpaper on. But then most people use templates from Canva for like keychain sizes and stuff, and like they write the prices on that and then just stick it on the panels. So I might just end up going with a white one, just because one, it will be cheap, and two, if I ever figure out how to use Canva properly and figure out the template system and stuff, then I can just get that printed out on like cardboard or something, stick that on, and I won't have to worry about it. But yeah, I did think about it, because I was thinking of doing Hyper Japan, because that's like relatively close to me, and if I just take a suitcase, you know, then I can just see if everything fits in a suitcase, then that'll be simple enough. Because a lot of people recommend for your first one to just bring like 10 of everything, because if you sell out, you sell out, you're not carrying a bulky stock everywhere with you. But then they also recommend, depending on like the venue, like if it's a 3-day one, then maybe 10 things for each day, because if you sell 10 things a day, that's easy. But they also say not to get your hopes up, because you're obviously going to lose money anyway, because you've got to pay for the hotel, got to pay for your travel, got to pay for like the table cost, got to pay for like a card machine, everything else that you'll need. So like that is all expensive, and obviously right now I don't have a lot of money coming in from my shop, so I can't do that. But I was looking at doing it. I had some stuff written down, because I put in so much thought, effort into that. Because some card machines, they're fairly cheapish, you know, like some cost like £20 plus VAT, and there's like no chargeback fee, which is good, and there's like no monthly fees, but you pay 1.75% per transaction. Some of them you just need your phone to work, and the battery life isn't good, and there's no like printer in case you want to write a receipt. Some of them cost about £30. Some of them can cost like £50. Some of them can cost up to like £200 just for a card machine. So yeah, it just depends on like what features you want, what's easier to integrate with, you know, like your website and stuff. Sometimes they do have sales, but a lot of people at Artist Alley just tend to use the same thing anyway. So there's lots of reviews out there that I was looking at that some people said was good and some people said it was bad, because obviously like the signal in cons and stuff is really bad because everyone's on their phones, everyone's using card machines and stuff, so it can depend on that as well. But Hyper Japan was the cheapest one I found for table costs, for like, you know, being an artist there. I couldn't work out what the difference was for like the floor plan, but the prices were pretty much the same, and the tables were the same size as well. Because most places they charge you extra for Wi-Fi for like your card machines and stuff, but with Hyper Japan the table costs include the Wi-Fi for your card machines and stuff. So the price of the table is £220 plus VAT, which I think will be around £270. I'm not too sure. And then you get one table, 2 chairs, 1 exhibitor pass, so like 1 pass to get in, but you can upgrade and pay for another pass if you're having someone with you. Yeah, so you can buy another chair and another pass if you want, but that also comes with Wi-Fi for your payment device, which is fairly easy, and that's like the cheapest one I found. I really enjoyed going to Hyper Japan the one and only time I've gone. I keep meaning to go back, but where it's a summer thing, it's really hot and I can't handle heat that well. It's also around my birthday, which makes it more exciting of me wanting to go. But it's just awkward to get to, especially as I'd be going down there by train by myself. I've seen a lot of people ship their stuff to cons and stuff, like for MCM and like if they go to the ones in Germany and France. But 1, I don't know how to go about doing that. 2, I don't know how expensive it is. 3, I don't know how to go about doing it the reverse way and stuff, and I don't know which venues let you do that and stuff. A lot of Artist Alley people gatekeep everything, which I understand to a certain degree. Like, you don't want to give out your manufacturers in case, you know, people are using them and they're like, oh well, this person said I can get this and this for free when they didn't, and just like mess it up for that. But when you get people asking for like simple tips like, oh, what brand of tablecloth do you use? Do you need a tablecloth? What would happen if you don't have a tablecloth? And then those just get ignored. And then on the flip side, you get some people that go into really, really great detail about every step that they do and like how they design stuff. And I read into it like quite a bit, and it seems that the ones that I found were all American, and none of the stuff was really relevant to me, because it's like in America you have to pay to get like a selling license for most of the cons over there, and you got to pay VAT on top of that, then you got to pay for a permit to table and all of that stuff, and it's like none of that applies in the UK. And all of the links that they were using were like to Walmart and stuff, and like trying to find similar stuff over here is just like ridiculously high and stuff, so that wasn't very helpful. But Hyper Japan seems to be the cheapest option, because MCM keeps upping the prices for the tickets and stuff anyway, let alone like the tables and stuff. And loads of people have said that Hyper Japan isn't nope, not Hyper Japan, MCM isn't really focused on actual artists anymore. It's more focused on people who are dropshippers and AI art, and like you get all of those people who buy crochet stuff and sell it, and all like the knockoff art and stuff. Like, I don't mind crocheters being at artist alleys if you're doing crochet based on stuff, because it's not like you're at a gaming, anime, manga, comic convention. Why are you bringing crochet of like animals and stuff? That's more suited for like a small farmer's market and stuff. If you're crocheting like anime characters, Comic-Con characters, comic characters, stuff like that, then I'd understand, but they're not. And you can always tell that it's dropshipping as well, because they're all the same and like they've all got tags on with Chinese like letters and stuff, so it's kind of obvious. That and people who do clothing, like I'm not saying people who do clothing alongside their stuff, that's fine, it's just people who do only clothing and it's not really relevant to anime, manga, gaming, comics, stuff like that. That's also more suited towards farmers markets and stuff. But yeah, I'm not trying to be like overly negative and stuff. I find it annoying when there's stuff like that and they're taking up like a huge table, because you know they're paying extra for a double table, and then you know you've got actual artists who's been applying it for like 2 years to get into it and they're not getting into it because you know all of their tables are full or stuff like that. And it's like, it's really hard, you know, and I've seen a load of people that are older than me complain about it because it's gone a long way from where it started, because it used to be, you know, a small community. It used to be everyone's good at, you go there, you'd find a load of anime merch, you know, fan art stuff and everything, and nowadays it's just drop shipping, AI, crochet stuff, and t-shirts that don't belong there, you know, stuff like that. I was also looking at if I did go to Hyper Japan, if I'd get a hotel and stuff, because obviously it'll be easier for me to do that and get, you know, 3 trains every day for the weekend. Where it's London, it's obviously a lot cheaper than if I went to like the Excel Centre where MCM is, but one hotel for 4 nights, so I'd get there like the day before, because most of the time if it's a 3-day weekend you can get there on the Thursday, set your table up on the Thursday, and then sorry, hold on, okay, sorry, I had to cough really bad. But yeah, most places, if it's a weekend one, they let you come down on a Thursday, set up your table, and then that way it's ready for the Friday. So I was looking at going down on there on the Thursday and then coming back Monday morning, because obviously after a long weekend I'm not going to come back Sunday at the same time. I want time to be able to pack everything up, rest a little, and then leave. Especially Sunday travel is awful. And one hotel 5 minutes away cost £464.55, which worked out to be £116.14 per night, and it's like there's no way I'm going to be able to get a profit of at least that much per night for the 3 days to be able to cover the cost of the hotel. Another one 5-minute walk away for the same amount of time was £591, and that was like £147.75 per night. There was an Airbnb that for 4 nights was £345, which is the cheapest one I could find that was still relatively close by. And that would work out to £86.25 per night. So if you include that plus the cost of the table is £609, and then divide that for 3 for like the 3 days, I'd need £203 per day just to cover the cost of that Airbnb and like a table fee, and that's not including the money I'd have to spend for food, water, my card machine, getting my products and everything else. So yeah, that is a lot of money. I would ideally like to have enough profits from my shop to be able to afford all of those costs outright, because then at least that way in my mind I've earned it, and that way I'm not going to a con and my earnings are dependent on if someone comes to my stall or not, because if I'm spending all of that money and nobody, you know, visits my stall and stuff, then I've gone there, I've spent all of that money and I haven't earned it. So ideally, if I get the money from profits, then I will start thinking of doing it. I don't really want to go to one when I haven't earned it, if that makes sense. So I have been looking at going to Comic Cons as well, but Hyper Japan would be the closest one for me. I'd be going by myself, I'd be going on the train, so like, yeah, I can put everything into a suitcase, but then I'd also need a bag for like my clothes for the 4 days, food, water. At least with an Airbnb I can, you know, use the fridge, use the cooker. So on the way to that Airbnb I can stop off at like Tesco, Sainsbury's, whatever shop is closest, bulk buy food, make packed lunches for like the 3 days, and like get some ready meals to cook for dinner when I come in, because obviously I'm going to be exhausted after that day. So at least with the Airbnb I have that chance. But if I'm staying at a hotel and stuff, then I have to go and find food every single day on the day, because most hotels don't come with fridges and stuff, and if they do, you have to pay more to use a fridge. So, you know, and then obviously all of that money is not accounting for the fact of if I want to buy something, because most of the time when people are setting up and stuff, usually they'll let you have a look at the stuff while you're setting up, because they know that's like the only chance you can get if you're by yourself to look at stuff. So it is also one of my goals. So my goals for it basically are get a Shopify website and then eventually go to an artist alley. A lot of people use warehouses, like they rent warehouses for all of their products and stuff, or they use a storage unit, both of which I've looked into and aren't currently feasible right now, because for me the closest like warehouse is in central London, which is a trek for me to get to, especially as I don't like going on trains. The closest storage unit is like a few buses away, which is fine. And the ones that I was looking at, they have like a courier that comes around to collect their post anyway, so they do offer for you to leave your stuff if you're selling it at like reception, and then a courier will come around and collect it for you. I don't know if I'm explaining that right. But if you're packing up parcels and stuff, you can pack them up, leave them in a bag, leave them with reception, and when the courier comes, then they'll pick up your stuff that you're trying to ship, and then they will take it to like the post office or wherever and send it for you, if that makes sense. Hold on, I have to blow my nose. Okay, I could feel myself being like all nasally, but yeah, they let you post your parcels with them, which will save so much time and money going to the shops yourself. A few of them do let you use the Wi-Fi for like computers and stuff, so you can print orders in their units, and a lot of them are small business friendly, but again they are quite expensive, so covering that cost per month as well as the cost of the website, like Shopify, when I get around to that, isn't something I can afford right now. But it would mean I would get more storage space rather than, you know, just a small portion of my floor space in my bedroom. So that is up there in terms of goals. So like my 3 main goals is to get a Shopify website, have enough space that I can order stuff, like more things. But anyway, I think I have been waffling on long enough. This video has ended up turning out way longer than I thought it would be, so I'm going to show you guys my products now. First off, let me show you my business card that I got made. I really like the colour theme for it. It's really nice. I got my logo. It's not really focusing. I got my logo there on the front that I made. Then you've obviously got my Ko-Fi link and my shop name. I was supposed to get them printed on the back with like my Instagram handle, but I forgot. And then they came and I was like, well, now I've got, you know, 250 business cards. So I'll just write it on. I was also supposed to get like a thank you letter one sorted out. I decided not to because the memo pads that I made with the cat paw prints, I still have loads of sheets of those. So at the moment I've only sold one order to Sparrow and Hawk. Obviously they're going to be the first one to buy something from me. And I've just been using that. I cannot remember right now though where I put the thing. I thought I put it in one of the boxes, but it's not there. So I think maybe I put it on my manga trolley. I don't know. I should probably try and figure that out before I make, you know, before I get another order. And then we have some bookmarks. We have two different designs of bookmarks because I made two separate designs, and I asked the people in my Discord which design they liked most, and nobody could decide, so I ended up just making both designs. So this is the first one. It says Bloom and Read, and you got, you know, like the flowers, and that one also comes with rounded corners because me personally I prefer the round corners, but I know some people prefer the sharp corners. And then this is the second design. You got Books on My Happy Place with a little moon and stars, and obviously again you got one rounded, one square. I ordered them all to have sharp corners because I didn't want to pay extra for the rounded corners, so I did it all by hand and it took me like 4 hours to do, and my wrists were so incredibly sore by the end of it. So I think if I'm going to do bookmarks again, or, you know, buy them again when they run out, I think I am just going to go for the option to do two separate orders, one for rounded bookmarks and one for like rectangular edges, because I don't want to do that again. And then we have some postcards, Animal Crossing themed. I did originally do this design for a sticker sheet, but like I mentioned, it wouldn't let me upload the whole design as a sticker sheet because it just wasn't working. So I did it as a postcard instead, and there you go. It's pearlescent, so it's kind of shiny, if that picks up. And obviously on the back you can use it like an actual postcard if you wanted to, or you can just, you know, display the print like on your wall or something. But yeah, it's pearlescent too, so we have some of those. And then let's go with the stickers. We have this Frankenstein book cover little stamp sticker. Obviously the art for this one is not mine. I found the cover of it on Pinterest. So that probably will, you know, have some legal ramifications. So I probably won't make those again after they sell. But yeah, they're in the shop. We have this little whale shark design because whale sharks are my favourite shark. So we have that one. And then we have obviously Gudetama, because, you know, it's egg themed, and why wouldn't I have an egg themed design? And then we have a limited amount of these freebie stickers that we place in orders. It says, you know, #1 shop supporter, and like a little thank you on it that I designed. I made it look like a sunflower because sunflowers are my favourite flower, and I thought if I just had like a normal, what are these things called? I don't know, but if I just had a normal one, I thought that would be boring, so I made it look like a sunflower. So those are free in your orders until, you know, they obviously run out. And then we have these little badges. Comes with the protective film on the back. It says you're a superstar, and hold on, it's got like a star hollow design finish, if that's picking up. So that's really cool. I was really impressed with how they turned out because I wasn't too sure if, you know, you'd be able to see the details while it's still like hollow sparkles and stuff, but it actually looks really good, and I'm really impressed with that. And then we have, sorry, everything's just kind of like in its own separate bag, so it is kind of hard, especially as they keep falling out of the bags. We have Miffy keychain because I love Miffy. You've got the protective film on the front, and this counts as the protective film on the back because when I obviously got one for myself, and when I tried to take off the backing part, it came off with the protective film as well. So see how this one's all like cloudy because of that white paper on the back? When you take it off, it's all, you know, clear acrylic. I don't know if that shows up that well, but it's clear acrylic. You have the same design on the back, and comes with a little rabbit clasp in silver. It's really cute. I might, if they're popular, I might make more with like different coloured dresses, so you can have like a whole rainbow of Miffys. And then the next one I made was this little strawberry shortcake one with the pink bow, and again it's the same. You got the acrylic on the front and the back just to protect it while it ships to you, and then this is my one. Again, pretty much the same, clear acrylic. I did plan to only do the strawberry shortcake ones just for myself, so I was only going to do 10, so it's like 1 for me and then 9 to sell, but it worked out way cheaper to do 20 instead. So yeah, I ended up making 20 of them, and now I'm worried that they're not going to sell because it's a niche thing anyway, but like this specific strawberry shortcake one is even harder because it's like the generation that I grew up on. So it's not that popular, and it's probably not going to be, you know, sell that much, but once they're gone, I am not, you know, I'm not making a mistake of renewing them and making them again. So yeah, I mean, I could have lost money and did it as 10, but it was so much cheaper to do as 20 that I was just like, I'll just do 20. But now looking at the big bag of them that I have, I'm kind of regretting my decision slightly. But they're the only 2 keychain designs I have at the moment, just because they were way more expensive to do than the stickers, the badges and the postcards. Yeah, those are the products that I have at the moment. And then everything will come in either one of these 2s, depending on if you order a bookmark and a postcard. because everything else fits in this, but obviously the postcards and the bookmarks fit in this. I wanted to keep everything as small as possible for the post, so these are the only two options that I have for posting stuff. So I haven't bought anything that's like an upper size, if that makes sense. So you guys obviously only pay shipping for all of your items, which will cover, you know, one of these. So if I do need to do two, that's fine. I'll just pay the extra odds because I haven't found packaging that's slightly bigger. It's either way too big, like those parcel envelopes, and I don't want all of the stuff to be moved around even with bubble wrap because I just want it to be protected, or it's just like big boxes. So at the moment I'm fine just doing these because they fit through your letterbox. They're only like a little bit bulky, so they're fine to fit through your letterbox and stuff and arrive safely. And this one where the bookmarks and postcards go are cardboard back, so they're extra protected. But yeah, I did also, when I went and sent Sparrows off, I asked the woman, because I couldn't find any information online about sending it to Europe and stuff, because I want to know what like the price difference is so I can have that as an option on Ko-Fi, because obviously I want to ship to Europe as well. I have loads of friends in Europe who I think would enjoy some of my stuff. But she wouldn't tell me. She was like, no, you're not sending to Europe, so I'm not allowed to tell you. That's just policy. And it's like, okay, sure. And I was like, okay, but what if I did? And it's like, well, then you have to come back with something and I'll tell you then. And it's like, you can't just, you know, look it up on your computer and tell me. No. So once I figure that out, I will have Europe prices up for shipping on my website, and then I can ship to Europe and stuff. But at the moment I'm only shipping in the UK. America I think will be a long time because of like all of the tariffs and stuff. I won something from a giveaway from one of the people I follow on Instagram, and the package came, and obviously like on the front it tells you like the customs and stuff, and they paid nearly £30 for shipping, and I felt so bad. But they were the ones that, you know, obviously did like worldwide giveaway. But I felt so bad because I can't afford to buy the stuff myself because obviously they're American and I'm not, and it's super expensive. And obviously when I saw that it was like £30 for the shipping and stuff, and they had to pay taxes on top of that, I just felt so bad about it. So obviously when I have more money from my shop to cover the cost, I will do American shipping and stuff at that point. So that's going to be a long way in the future, which I apologise for. But yeah, you'll get a... I will show you guys how I will package stuff. So you'll get... We're stuck. You get a little organza bag for your keychain. So you just put your keychain in, and then it will go in that, and then I'll just put in obviously my business card, and then I will obviously write a little note when I find the memo pad again, and then that will go in there, and then it'll get closed, and then it'll be fine to post. That's pretty much how I package them. So they're really safe. They don't take up that much space in the packaging things because I spent so long measuring everything to make sure it all fit in those options. So everything will come all nice and neat and lovely packaged for you guys. But yeah, once I sell this stuff, I will obviously look at getting different stock and maybe doing themed stuff, because this all seems a bit like a random bunch of things. So yeah, when this sells, I will maybe start doing theme stuff. Obviously you can message me on Ko-Fi, Instagram, Discord or whatever, and then go, hey, what about doing something like this? And then if I get a few options of the same, or I'll make a poll on Instagram or whatever, and if enough people say yeah, that sounds like a good idea, I'll then, you know, make that as a product. But yeah, let me have a look. So the Miffy keychain is £8. And then the strawberry shortcake one is £9, so it's only £1 more. Just because I just want them gone, so I'm not gonna, you know, put them up at a higher, like a much higher price than Miffy, even if they are just like this one-time exclusive. The Frankenstein sticker, that's £4 because it's a stamp one, and that's the only design of that one that I have. And then the Gudetama and Bioshock ones, they are £4 too, just because I'm planning on doing them as a bundle when I eventually figure out how to do that on Ko-Fi, make bundle discounts, because I wanted to do a bundle discount, like say you buy a bookmark and a keychain, or a sticker and a keychain, then, you know, you'd get it slightly cheaper. I cannot for the life of me figure out how to do that on Ko-Fi. This badge is £10, and then the bookmarks, they are £5 each, and I have the options on the website for you to click if you want the rounded corners or the rectangle corners, and those are people charge more if you want them rounded, but I was just like, I'll just charge them the same price. It doesn't, you know, matter to me, because like, why are you paying more for the rounded corners? Like, I get they charge more for it, but to me that just seems silly, so they are just both £5. And then I've lost a page. Where did that go? And then the postcards are £6. So, you know, everything is £10 or less. £10 is obviously the badge that's the most expensive. I have tried to make it as affordable as I possibly can. I do not make a lot of profits off of this because I spent so much money doing all of this. So I'd be happy if everything sold, but I'm not getting, you know, like an insane amount of profit. I'm getting like £1, £2 maybe per thing. So I probably should put the prices up more, considering everyone's like, you got to factor in, you know, like the cost of manufacturing and stuff, your labour costs, your cost to make and design the products and all of that stuff. But I've just really factored in the cost it takes for like me to pay the manufacturer for everything, the cost to make my business cards, and the cost for the packaging, and I added all of that up and just divided it by the number of items that I have that I'm selling, which is like 9, and then I just kind of based it off of that. Maths is not my strong suit, so that's probably why I'm not making that much of a profit, but I just want it to be, you know, cheap and affordable for everyone. And then for July, because that's my birthday month, I'm gonna do a 5% off sale. I just gotta plan whenabouts I want to do it, because this video is like kind of near middle end of June, so obviously I don't want to do this out the start of July because I feel like this video won't get a lot of traction until then. My birthday is not until the end of the month, so I might do it at the end of July because then it's around my birthday and it's just, you know, birthday sale. So I might do it the week of my birthday and then the week after, so you get 2 weeks of the 5% off sale. That's obviously, I got to figure out if I can do a discount code on Ko-Fi or if I've got to manually change all of the prices, and if I have to manually change all the prices, I've got to work out what that 5% is, because again, maths is not my strong suit. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I don't think there was much else I was going to talk about for the shop things. I think I pretty much said it all. Well, I mean, I would hope so, considering this video is like over an hour long at this point. But if I think of anything else, I will just drop it down in the comments. But the link to the Ko-Fi shop will be in the description box if you guys want to check that out. The Instagram is the same as the shop name, Eggy's Doodle Studio. I can't remember if it's got, I think it's got underscores, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure if you just type in Eggy's Doodle Studio and then look at the logo, it will come up eventually. So, but I will link that Instagram account below as well. But yeah, thank you for watching and for your support and everything. Yeah, make an order or don't, it's up to you. Like, this is not me making the video to force you to buy my stuff, it's just me making the video to get my products out there more. So tell a friend if you think a friend will, you know, enjoy the products as well. And once I figure out how much more expensive EU shipping is, I will make a post about me adding that, probably on the Instagram for this shop. So, and I'll probably also mention it in my Discord as well. So if you don't have Instagram and you have Discord, or vice versa, then you'll know. And yeah, thank you guys for watching.